All right, so the most likely predator in nearly every single category of crime, the most likely predator is a woman in every single case. And in the majority of those cases, it's a single mother. Single mothers are the most pampered people in the country. They're also the ones with the most say-so. A single mother can destroy your life with a rumor and then say, oh, well, I'm afraid for my kids. Well, people are actually harming you. In my lifetime, I have not found any violence that cannot be attributed to women manipulating men. Now, I wanted to try to seek an end to the violence that I've endured, and even the people who claim to be my friends, what is their idea of doing something to stop it? Either A, they ignore it and pretend it's not happening. Well, that doesn't stop it. Or B, they want to talk about violence. Cynthia, over there at the Safeway deli. I'm supposed to go tell somebody when I'm harmed. A friend or family member. Cynthia calls herself my friend. A lot of people there at the Safeway have called me friend. But when I'm abused, instead of listening to me so they know what happened, what transpired, instead what I get is them interrupting me to volunteer violence. Cynthia was, a lot of people said I should go to Cynthia, but I couldn't go to Cynthia. All she would talk about is hurting people. If all she's going to do is talk about hurting people, yeah, I'm going to be afraid to go to her. Now, understanding where she came from, I understand why she goes to violence first. Understanding the situations that we live in and under as a country, I understand why she would want a man to do it. But that's primarily what we have in the United States. We're taught as men from birth that we're supposed to protect women and children. What are we taught? Protect women and children. Holly's here. Hi, Holly. I'm gonna use Holly as an example here in part of my video just because she's here and she can verify a lot of things. I got people getting on and fighting for attention already. So I have to do this stuff in public, and of course it's not appropriate, most of my subject matter. But I don't have a safe place to do this. I don't have my own domicile. When you're disabled and you have to jump through a bunch of hoops for housing, those hoops don't stop once you're there. They want you to continue jumping through those hoops regardless of the cost. And when you're living on a fixed income because you're disabled, that cost is important. Now, one of the things about being forced to do this in public, I'm having to do this at the local library, not appropriate. Or I'm having to do it at the local Safeway, not appropriate. I'm having to call the disability place and give out my personal information while I'm in a place where I'm surrounded by people who are desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. You give out the wrong information, those people use it to harm you. Is it just Cynthia there that was talking about violence, offering up violence? No, there was also Candy. Candy offered up her husband, Joe. Cynthia offered up her husband, John. They don't often do these things for men. Usually that kind of stuff is reserved for when a woman wants to destroy a man's life. I'm asking these people not to destroy a man's life. Many of these people, well, some of them know better. Cynthia is well aware that sometimes beating the hell out of somebody will save them 40 years in prison. But there's me asking them not to. All that violence that Jennifer wanted to give, and David wanted to give, and Cynthia wanted to give, and Candace wanted to give, all of that violence. I can't tell these women about the abuse that I'm taking without them stopping me, preventing me from speaking, so that they can talk about violence yet again, and getting violent yet again, and how somebody should be violent yet again, somebody should hurt him yet again. Then of course there's the, did you call the police? And I say I'm a male, it's different for us. I'm homeless, it's different for us. I'm just gonna get talked over as if I must be the predator, or as if I'm a drug addict, or as if I'm a schizophrenic hallucinating the assaults. But the assaults are on my channel. Holly typed, I almost said the same quote, desperate times call for desperate measures. Yes, very much so. Many of these people that are offering up all this violence, are they going to go and get violent? No, they're not. They're going to run around and spread rumors until they find somebody dumb enough to go get violent. You've seen that happen before. You know, you got the pretty girl who is mad at some guy, but he's got a little bit of popularity. She's got to find somebody that she can lie to that is dumb enough to believe it, or wants to be popular enough, or wants to be liked by her enough that he'll believe anything that she says, and he'll go harm people. Dakota Sharping typed, oh, you're out of your pocket now. Yo. Holly typed, Sean, do you know anyone with a Jeep? Yes, I know a few people with a Jeep. But what does a Jeep have to do with any of this? It doesn't get my story heard. Right now we're talking about the violence being pushed heavily by these women as help.
It's opinion, yeah, it's the opinion page.
Many of them saying they don't know how when it comes to turning it in. No, we have taught women from birth how to take advantage of all of these situations. We have set it up so that there are free services for women all over the place. There are 15 services just for women in Boulder County for every single co-ed service, and there are 0 men-only services, 0 of them. There's felon-only services, and a lot of people complain that the male felons, that's a male-only service. No, it's not. There's a female version of it in Boulder County, too. They're not co-ed for a reason, as far as the cohabitation goes, but they are co-ed as far as the service goes. Dakota Sharping typed, you were so right about all of this. Ollie typed, I mean, have you seen a Jeep around? Yes, I've seen a lot of them around. Jeeps are a very popular vehicle in places where you're near the mountains. There's a lot of Jeeps around, yes. Ollie typed, apparently they robbed the gas station for Marlboro cigarettes, candy, and lighters. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything for me. I know lots of people with Jeeps. Yes. No, they're not gonna rob their own town for cigarettes and lighters. The chances of me knowing who it is non-existent. Alright, so let's get back to the violence that I've seen in my life. I've seen men stabbed. Every man I've ever seen stabbed was either stabbed by a woman or over a woman. Every one of them. When I brag about having 7 extra holes in my body from running my mouth, is it really from running my mouth? No, it's because people were doing wrong things to other people. And I'm not somebody who can just stand and watch. Now, just so you know, I'm getting a restricted call after a restricted call right now. A lot of these people are men. Men who want to harm me over things that women are unhappy about. When a woman's unhappy, that's when it's okay to get violent. When a woman is unhappy, not when a man's unhappy, but when a woman is. A woman is to get violent whenever she wants. A man is to get violent when a woman tells him to. When a woman instructs him to. How many of these women have volunteered up their husbands for violent actions? Many of them. I typed it was in Tillamook. Yep, I kind of figured. Yeah, I know a few people with a Jeep. Now we got this person, FVXNI. He's one of the trolls. He's going to get on with about 4 or 5 other guys all at once and just start basically trolling the hell out of my channel. Holly, I am sure that you can recognize this action from the last few days. Some of them turn out to be sort of nice, but for the most part, it's groups of people gang stalking. That's literally what it is. They come to my channel specifically to be bullies, and they're different from the ones, like, for example, the, the Fred something account, and he's got some that are Fred, some that are Ted, hold on a second, or the Rich Life of Ativan, Rich Life of Haldol. There's also the Ativan 666 accounts. I'm used to them. And that guy actually recently admitted that him and his friends were doing it, but he was trying to claim like it's harmless. No, it's not harmless. It's not even close to harmless. You think that's harmless? Let me tell you something about the female friends of mine that don't get justice when they're harmed. Do you know why they don't get justice when they're harmed? Because nobody believes them. Do you know why nobody believes them? Because the world has realized that we have way too many women who are taught habitually to lie to get what they want and to throw tantrums like children their entire lives. We teach them that they're more mature than boys at the age of 14. And they think they're more mentally mature than boys. No, they're not. They're more physically mature, and that is all. Mentally, men are capable of advancing a lot further than women are because we teach them that. It's not because women are stupid. It's not because men are stupid. It's because men have to bite the harsh realities of real life a lot sooner. Women have one leg to stand on, and that's sexual assault. And as we've seen in the last few years, women are a lot more likely to give in to their sexual side than men. They're a lot more likely to push that sexual side than men. A lot of the women that I know that claim they understand I'm not interested in sex because they were abused when they were younger will also type openly on their Facebook about how they need some dick. Like literally, there's no other portion of a man other than that portion there. I know lesbians who will do that. They won't date a man, they just want that part of his anatomy. And part of that comes from the fact that all men are supposed to take care of children and women. So a woman who has a child, well, she's got an income. And a lot of women are taught to think that way. A lot of the women that I know, they make nearly all of their decisions based on looks. And that starts off from youth. When they first start dating, their mother's telling them whether they find a boy okay or not. Oh, you guys will have pretty babies. You'll make pretty babies. How many of you have heard that? Also, how many of you, and mind you, I know a lot of women who are parents who have basically seen me as their illegitimate child or their illegitimate girl child, which is creepy. But the things that they say to their daughters are things like, well, you need to date somebody who's smart, but not as smart as you because you want to win the arguments. Holly typed, I can't stand tantrums. I am Doza typed, what do you think of guys that want another guy's part? Well, that depends on how you want it and whether or not it's consenting, whether or not they're adults. But that's not what this is about, is it? A lot of people here, like there's a guy named JD, and he's one of the first people to come up and tell me about wolnez running around saying he's gonna this and he's gonna that. But a lot of people came up and told me that he was saying he was gonna kill me. Which, yeah. Cynthia's one of those people. She told me that he was messaging her husband, John. Andrew Wolnez was messaging John that he was going to kill me. And Cynthia was going to try to get those and send them to me so I could take them to court. She was going to send them to Candy so I could take them to court. And she didn't try. Holly type, I'd never say someone sexually assaulted me if they didn't. Thank you, Holly. Now, another thing, Holly, is that a lot of the videos that I'm making now, you get in and you do type, and I do try to interact with you because I know you're not trying to be harmful or damaging. But then it becomes a situation where I'm trying to talk specifically to you where I can't because of connection issues or because of not having your phone number. But then there's also the fact that if I have your phone number and you do harmful stuff, there's a good chance your phone number will end up on my YouTube channel. And oftentimes due to no fault of your own, just faulty understanding from not listening well. Except you do listen pretty well. And thank you for that. I am Doza typed respect bro. The Crusader Ball typed hi. Holly typed I'm all about someone being genuine. Well, thank you. Holly typed what goes around comes back stronger. And yes, very much so. A lot of people wanted to harm me in real life and run around and spread rumors in real life. Rumors that got people to physically assault me in real life. Meanwhile, there were things that didn't actually happen. Natalie Bollinger didn't go accusing me of any of that stuff that wolnez wants to scream at me. None of it. But he thinks it's okay to assault me over it, and he's not the only one. Natalie Bollinger was a drug addict, and we get to see the same dynamics that I have to deal with her and her sister and Maddie Boa. We get to see the same dynamics at play with Teresa Orn. the same dynamics at play with Brett Roloff. It's all the same dynamics when I'm having to depend on drug addicts and drug dealers, people who are strung out, people who are messed up on drugs. They may say they care, but in reality, they're going to care when they want a cigarette. And they might listen to a couple of minutes worth of me complaining to get a cigarette. But in the end, they just want